Every year, over 18 million patients are diagnosed with cancer. In recent years, due to scientific breakthroughs, new advanced personalized therapies had evolved using the patient's immune system to fight the cancer, leading to a complete cure with minimal side effects. Nevertheless, the manufacturing process of the therapies are long, complicated, and very expensive, therefore not available for patients. Adva Biotechnology had developed an innovative, unique, state-of-the-art breakthrough technology which enables automated, controlled, simple, and cost-effective manufacturing.
We are on the verge of a medical revolution dominated by personalized therapies. Personalized cell therapy is the use of a patient's own cells to treat complex diseases. For example, scientists had developed beating hearts from the patient's own stem cells, or even engineered their immune cells to attack specifically their own cancer. Therapies such as CAR-T, with clinical response of 90% in some types of cancers, can practically eliminate cancer as we know it. Adva Biotechnology has a unique blend of innovative and motivated talent coming from different backgrounds such as engineering, biotechnology, and medical science. We have all joined forces to develop a platform that will transform patient care as we know it and enable life-saving personalized cell therapies.
The system uses advanced sensors and AI to ensure the quality of the product. By facilitating cell manufacture in almost any location, while driving dramatic infrastructure, human capital, and cost reductions, Adva X3 makes life-saving therapy accessible to millions of cancer patients today. Adva Biotechnology, enabling revolutionary cures for cancer patients worldwide.
It's my pleasure to welcome Dr. Ohad Karnieli, the founder and CEO of Adva Biotechnology, for a conversation with Steve Linde, editor of the Jerusalem Report.
Welcome to Dr. Ohad Karnieli, founder and CEO of Adva Biotechnology.
Thank you, Steve.
Tell us a little bit about disruptive technologies in general and medical in particular.
Okay, so disruptive technology in general is a term that means a technology that basically changed the way that we see market. I think very good examples to that could be the smartphones. If you look at smartphones, you could look at even the music in it, MP3, as opposed to the records. Another good example might be the streaming, video streaming. Because if you look at Blockbuster, all the video chains that we used to go and wait for hours in line to get your video cassette suddenly disappeared. Came a new way of technology that changed this industry totally. When we're looking at medicine, it's a little bit different because these kinds of changes don't occur that fast. Having said that, things do occur. And because it's life-saving, things might be even much more critical than we expect.
So let's zoom in a little bit on personalized medicine and specifically on your big breakthrough, which is CAR-T.
Okay, so personalized medicine in general is the use of medicine that's specific to the specific person. As we know today, complex diseases or the new age diseases are much more complex than what we're used to. And it's just a specific drug against a specific treatment or disease. So we're looking at something that is much more personal. We're looking at therapies that are based for that specific patient. If we take it one step further, we're looking at personal cell therapy. That's even a higher level, because in this case, what you do is you're engineering the patient's cells to cure that specific disease. And CAR-T, which is not mine, there's many others that have that invented it and should get the glory behind it, of course. But CAR-T is basically engineering the patient's immune cells to attack cancer. In general, our body knows how to defend against disease cells. It knows how to kill these cells, it knows how to identify them, and practically kill them. CAR-T is basically engineering a T cell, which is one of our white blood cells, one of our immune system cells, engineering it to identify cancer cells and kill them specifically. This has been evolving for the last 20 years. And the past 3 years, there's major breakthroughs. And we're talking about 3 different, or even now 4 different therapies that have already been approved globally, not only in the US, all over the world, with tremendous efficacy. And we're talking about in cases of leukemia, lymphoma, sometimes 90% response rate, which is unbelievable.
So how come, if they have such high efficacy, as you say, therapies such as CAR T do not actually get to the patient?
So the problem with that is it's very, very personal. So you have to take the patient's own cells, engineer them against their specific cancer, propagate the cells to billions of cells, and basically inject back into the patient. So what you're doing practically is building a drug, and this is a biological drug, from the patient's own cells to cure that specific patient. So it's a totally different model of what we're used to. It's not what pharma is used to when we have these huge tanks and we're building these big batches of medicine, thousands of dosages, and one size fits all. Now, every drug is personalized to that specific patient. And because these are living cells, it's a very, very complicated process. You have to engineer the cells, you have to culture them, you have to test them. Basically, a full manufacturing process as you know it, but now per patient.
And what do you personally do at Adva Biotechnology?
Okay, so in Adva Biotechnology, we basically looked at this phenomenon and said, this is basically impossible. It doesn't make sense. There's a therapy out there, and there's a whole bunch of additional ones. There's almost 1,000 clinical trials today in different indications, different types of therapies, such as CAR T. But people are dying every day from cancer. Mm-hmm. And the reason is that the therapies, or some of them exist, some of them are in the pipeline, but even the ones that exist are not available to patients. And that's because of the complexity of manufacturing and the cost of manufacturing. And then behind that, the logistics behind all that basically makes it impossible to treat patients. And we decided to tackle that and come up with a solution that will enable manufacturing of a personalized cell therapy for a specific patient at bedside, or at least at point of care in the hospital.
So can you explain that a little bit more? What exactly have you come up with?
Yes. So if you look at a process today, it will be a manufacturing line with a few different devices which do different unit operations. So they'll take the cells, they'll clean them, they'll select them, they'll do the genetic manipulation, they will culture the cells, and then prepare them for injection. So it's a whole drug manufacturing line. We practically shrunk that in to one little box. And it's not that we took everything that was done manually and now just shrunk it, but we've re-looked at the way that things are done. And we decided that people have been culturing cells for 80 years the same way. Something has to change. And we looked at the blood and said, how come these cells grow very well in the blood? And tried to mimic the way that things happen in the blood. And came up with a new system that basically very, very simply, very cost effective, and very, very accurately does all these processes and practically makes it very simple to manufacture.
So this is certainly a medical innovation. Would you call it a breakthrough?
I would say that, that yes, it's a breakthrough because of not the specific technology. Technologies come and go, and we have tons of different ideas. Our technology is wonderful, and I think it's amazing. But it's a step towards a revolutionary change. And if we go back to the beginning of our talk on disruptive technologies, if you really want to treat patients with the therapies that we're talking about, these personalized therapies, it has something revolutionary has to happen. It's not enough to have good science. It's not enough to have good a good cause and a need, but you need that bridge. You need that enabling technology that will enable taking that cutting-edge science and bringing it to patient at a cost-efficient and manufacturable manner.
How has the COVID-19 epidemic impacted you?
So the epidemic impacted us, I would say, in two manners. One, it struck us and the world that the medical world has changed. If you look at the past, the telemedicine, okay, all the remote medicine was something that was there, but nobody really used that. Now, nobody goes to the doctor for an ear infection. They put a camera and the doctor says it's an ear infection, and that's it. So you can see that revolution. On the other side, in Israel, for example, to get CAR T treatment, you have to go to one of the major hospitals. They will ship your cells to Europe, manufacture in Europe, and ship it back. So now, when you look at the pandemic, it's basically impossible. People would fly out to somewhere else to get that treatment. Now it's impossible. So the idea is localizing the therapies, making it efficient, cost efficient, and at bedside near the patient where he needs it.
And finally, how do you think this will all affect the future of healthcare and the future practice of medicine?
So I think the future of healthcare could be amazing because the science is there. There are cutting edge, amazing things that are happening, but we need to bridge that to make it affordable. Practically a $500,000 treatment cannot exist. We need to push it down to a few $1,000s to simplify everything, and then we can really treat patients. And I see the future as being very bright. We can definitely beat a lot of these very, very bad diseases that hit us today, and I'm optimistic.
Bad diseases such as HIV, cancer.
Yes, everything that the immune system could treat, if it cannot treat it, we can engineer it to treat, as long as it's possible, and as long as it's cost effective, and it's definitely doable. And people are doing it today as we speak. There's treatment for HIV, a complete cure, for HCV, complete cure, for some of the cancers. We just need to make it affordable and available to patients.
Dr. Ohad Karnieli, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
It's my pleasure to welcome Michael Lurie, the head of Land Maneuver Systems at Rafael, for a conversation with Jerusalem Report editor Steve Linde.
Mickey Lurie, VP and head of Land Maneuver Systems at Rafael, welcome.
Thank you.
Tell us about the trophy system that you have developed and how it represents a game changer.
Okay. I'd like to start by looking at it from the soldier's point of view, okay? We have soldiers, 4 in a tank or living in an APC, sitting inside a metal box, not really aware of what's going on around them. There's a lot of noise, a lot of bumps, and there's one thing they know for sure. There's an enemy out there that wants to do them harm, okay? Now, the threat they're facing is something that is not very big. It's shaped this way, okay? About this wide, this long, and it moves at about 1,000 kilometers per hour. So from the minute it's shot until it hits them, it's almost no time. They won't see it coming, and the results will not be in their favor. That's the way a soldier thought before trophy, okay? That's how he felt during the 2006 Lebanon war, okay? And trophy changed that. Trophy is a system that detects that missile when it is launched, okay? It tracks it. It tells a soldier, incoming missile, be ready. And then it attacks the missile and destroys it before it reaches the tank. So that's trophy in a nutshell. It simply saves lives of soldiers.
Tell me some of the challenges you had in developing the system.
Okay. As I said, the incoming threat is coming at about 1,000 kilometers per hour. You need to detect it. You need to look at it and keep pace of the threat. Decide exactly when you want to intercept it, and then you have to hit it precisely at its head. Okay? You need to, in order to really get it out of the game. And all this needs very, very high precision, a lot of computing, a lot of detection, a lot of algorithms that were developed in Rafael for quite a long time before the system became deployed, and especially between the time of 2006 and 2010.
So let's talk about the Operation Protective Edge, the war against Hamas in Gaza, and that's when it really proved itself.
Right. So I want to take a few steps back. Okay. In 2006, in the Lebanon war, we didn't have any kind of answer to the missiles. So at the end of the war, Rafael took on itself to develop this system. We had a prototype, something very initial, and we decided to move ahead very rapidly. And within about 2 to 3 years, we got it from a prototype to a combat-proven system. It was deployed on tanks in 2010, and in 2011, 1 year later, that's it, it already saw action. And we have the movie and the recordings of the tank's crew. When the first missile was shot at a tank with a trophy system, and the soldiers are just talking, idling in the tank. They're talking about this guy walking next to a mosque, and they're saying, what is he doing? And then in no time, there's a boom, and the soldiers say, what just happened? Wow, we were shot at, and we would be dead if not for the trophy. Okay, so that was the first time trophy really saw combat action. Then we had several more occasions, but the real big thing was in Protective Edge, 2014, when we had quite a lot of incidents in which, both in urban terrain and outside of the towns, missiles were shot at tanks, and the trophy system worked. It's not only that it worked against the threats, it never worked without a threat. So it only works when it's required, and it does not work when it's not required, which is also a very big deal.
And it represented such a military innovation that you have in fact sold it to the US Army.
Yes, yes. We've sold 4 brigades worth of trophy systems to the US Army. We're finishing the delivery of these systems in about 2 months. They'll have 4 brigades of trophy systems in the US, and I think it's a great achievement. It comes to show because the US Army tested it any which way possible, okay? In all kinds of weathers, in all kinds of terrains, any kind of scenario possible, they tested the system. Of course, we, with the IDF, tested it in real combat situations, so we have also that. But again, there's a lot to say about real testing, and I think that today, both the Israeli military, the US military, and Rafael know that this system is proven and it works as it has to, and it'll save lives. It has saved, and it'll save in the future.
And in fact, you've also received a certificate of appreciation, of recognition from the US for saving lives.
Right, right. That was not for the trophy. That was the generation before. We provided, we're in this protection business for a long time. Initially, we developed and produced passive and reactive armor, and we sold it to the IDF first, and also then to the US military. That was about 15 to 20 years ago, and through the different wars they had in the 1990s and the beginning of the 2000 year in Afghanistan and Iraq, this protection saved a lot of American lives, and we received certificates of appreciation, several of them, from the US Army, saying that we saved them. But this kind of protection is good against certain missiles. The newer missiles, the more advanced ones, it's not good enough against them. That's why we developed the trophy. We went to the next generation of protection system against the newer generation of missiles.
And have other countries expressed interest in the trophy?
Yes, we have at this point 3 more customers, 3 more countries, 2 of them Europeans and 1 outside of Europe, that are in the process of purchasing the trophy system. I can't talk about the specific countries at this point because they do not want this talked about or told, but they are in the process, and I think that more countries are to come.
This discussion is about military innovation and how certain situations give rise to new technologies. We call them disruptive technologies. How has Trophy contributed to the bigger picture when it comes to military innovation? Okay,
so in 3 aspects. One is defending the soldiers. Okay, after this incident in 2011, the CEO of Rafael received a phone call from the mother of one of the soldiers saying thank you for saving her child's life. It gives the soldier a lot of security. It gives the soldier a sense they can fight and someone's defending them. So that's one thing. The second thing is the trophy system, as I said, detects the missile, but not only the missile. It detects the shooter. it detects the origin from which the missile came from. And by that, enabling the crew to shoot the guy who's shooting them. And that way, the guy who's hunting them becomes the hunted one. Okay? So you're not only passively defending yourself, you're attacking your enemy. So that's the second thing. So you have your enemy on the run. And the third thing, because every trophy system out there has this radar that says where someone's shooting from, it enhances the situational awareness of the group of tanks, of the battalion, of the brigade, thus enabling the commander to better maneuver in hostile terrains, in urban terrains, hostile terrains, wherever. And I think that during Protective Edge, one of the brigade commanders of the IDF talked to that and said, this is a game changer. It enables me to maneuver in terrains, in areas that I would not dare because they were too dangerous before, and I can do it safely.
And briefly, final question, what is your vision for the future for Trophy?
Wow. First of all, we're gonna improve it and bring new capabilities all the time, okay? Because it's something that moves. You know, we make the trophy system, they make better missiles. We make the system better. And I have two sons that were in the military. One of them was a paratrooper. Second one was in a special unit. And I have a third son that's going into the military in November. I want them protected. I have a personal investment in this. I want them protected. Like all my friends in Rafael, they want their children protected. So we're going to do the best we can to provide the IDF the best protection system we can so that our children will be out of harm's way.
Mickey, Lurie, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.